Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. I know it's been a minute. Oh my, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I feel like I've been saying this for so long in my own personal life, but I feel like I keep getting ripped to shreds. And then I put myself back together. And I'm like, cool, this feels good. This makes sense. These pieces fit. And then not long after that, I feel like I'm ripped to shreds again. More so, obviously, energetically. And I think in big part that is because number one, maybe not even in any type of particular order, but like a culmination of all of these things. Jupiter is in my 12th house. And the last time Jupiter was in my 12th house is actually when I started my actual, real, and really a better word for that is intentional healing. I met a mentor at the time that really helped me unpack a lot of my subconscious shit. Literally, I think I cried for the first at least 3 weeks when we first started working together, before I was able to kind of start making practical, steps forward. So that was back in 2012. And literally, because I asked this person the dates of all of these things, and granted, they're not exact, but they're pretty close. Because this person has a defined head and ajna, on the human design side of things, and is just they remember everything. I'm pretty sure they've said they remember their own birth. I have an undefined head and ajna, so it's just shit is just swirling around in there. I remember the most random stuff, but not my own birth. So anyway, if you've made it this far, I will. A part of me is I might make this its own separate video, but the other part of me is it's probably going to end up being the intro, and I'll just put a time stamp in the description for when the actual reading starts if you don't want to sit here and listen to me ramble, because my defined throat, I have to ramble for a second. So bear with me. So anyway, back to my little ramble. How do you like my new setup? We'll see if this spot becomes permanent. It's at least temporary. We'll see how it goes, but I love it. I love the little plant vibe going on. So anyway, Gemini, Jupiter, that's my 12th house. And there is, it's this, first of all, it's a deeper understanding even of myself over the last 12 years, right? Just the work that I've put into myself, to understanding how I even became the person that I have become. And are there things that maybe I want to change that are just no longer fitting into my life, or I'm finally realizing aren't fitting into my life, which is the next thing. So Pluto, OMFG. Pluto has been squaring my natal Saturn since it went back into Capricorn, I have a 29-degree Saturn. And, Pluto has been at 29 degrees for the last, I don't know, however long. And not to mention, even before, right? Because it went into Aquarius for a sec, and then it retrograded back out. So Pluto has been squaring my natal Saturn for, I honestly have no effing clue how long. Not to mention, I have a 27-degree Pluto that's conjunct my Saturn at 29 degrees. So at some point in the last couple years, Pluto was squaring my natal Pluto. So, so yeah, that is also a bit uncomfy and has been a bit uncomfy. And I do feel like I'm finally starting to realize that, again, just the things that I was doing, how I was operating in my life, how I was operating in my relationships, how I was even approaching work and my idea of work and my whatever. I feel like I'm starting to finally get the clue on all of that. And quite frankly, I am excited for Pluto to just be away from from my Saturn, from my Pluto. I don't know, I'm not so educated in astrology to know, when that relief will start to come. Like, how far does Pluto have to be in Aquarius in order for me to feel a little bit of relief from that? Not to mention, too, Neptune was squaring my natal Neptune for the last, again, I don't know how long. I have a 28-degree Neptune. So there was that going on. Saturn has been tap dancing on my MC degree. Like, I think it made it to the exact degree that my MC is, and then it went retrograde. So it got there, and then it was like, oh, nope. I just heard that Aaliyah song, back, forth and forth. Because that's how, it seems like there's just, obviously, right? A lot of that going on with retrogrades and all of this stuff. So Saturn made it to my MC, which is in my 9th house. And then it went backwards. And then at some point it's going to go forward again and go over that bitch one more time before it leaves the sign entirely. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in my 10th house. But I don't have any placements there, so it might be okay. But, and it's loosely opposing my moon right now. So, oh, and Uranus is almost right on top of my Chiron. I have a 27-degree Taurus Chiron and a 28-degree Taurus Sun. So, that's coming up at some point. All of that is to say that, I have not been consistent here in this space. And that has caused me a lot of anxiety because I really do enjoy showing up here. I really enjoy the expansion that this space, that, tarot readings, that, connecting with you guys offers. And I cannot guarantee that it would be more consistent going forward, but I want to, it is on my list of things to prioritize. The first thing being myself, because I really have not done that. I tend to sacrifice my own well-being, and that has been something that has, it's been at the forefront. So if you are still here, I am so glad And I want you to know that I do think of you often. What is so funny is that, okay, I didn't even put that together. This looks like a little succulent here in the middle, and then just these flowers around the border. That's so funny. I actually, just to kind of wrap this up, because now I don't even know what I was talking about before I realized that, but I was actually I was grabbing my microphone actually, and then I look over to where like I have all of my tarot decks crammed into this one shelf, and I was like, oh, I haven't used the Muse Tarot in a while, a long time actually. So I was like, do you want to do the reading? Because I always ask my decks before I even do the reading if they want to do the reading. I actually asked this deck if it wanted to be a clarifying deck. This is the Tarot of the Abyss. And this is the card that came out, the Five of Cups. So that's a no. That is a no from Tarot of the Abyss. I think I already shuffled, well, the Star card came out. The Three of Pentacles working together, the Fool. I love that. So yes, this deck was definitely a yes, but I love the coordination. That is so funny to me. So it's been 15 minutes already. If you listen to this whole thing, thank you so much for allowing me the space to share. And if you know your own astrology, if you've, if there's some crazy shit going on with you too, I would love to hear it if you feel like sharing, because I think it really does just help, to share those things, and even to just allowing other people to see you and honor you in your experience. So with that being said, let's get into the readings. Great. So this is a reading for Sagittarius, wherever Sagittarius is in your chart. I am doing these readings a little different than before, and I feel like I'm getting better at explaining what I'm doing, because I did not do a good job of that in the Libra or Scorpio readings. But I'm switching it up a little bit. Basically what I'm going to do is a 3-card spread. I'm going to shuffle the deck a bunch of times, cut the deck twice, and then I'm going to take the top 3 cards. The first card is going to be the current vibe, the current energy, current whatever. And then the second card is going to be what's leaving, what's no longer serving, what needs to get out of here. And the third card is going to be what's coming in, what can you expect. And then I'm also going to take the bottom 3 cards from the deck to clarify each one of those. So obviously you'll see when I actually have all of the cards on the table. Forgive my lighting. I kind of overlooked that whole thing. So I do have a new camera holder thingy coming, because this one seems like it's just gonna pop right off anyway, and it has a light with it. So anyway, next time I do your reading, hopefully the light will be better. So I'm not taking the jumpers anymore either, since we're doing this a little bit different. So okay. 2 and the current energy is the Muse of Emotions, or the King of Cups. What is leaving is the 3 of Inspiration, or the 3 of Wands. And what's coming in is the Knight of Swords, or the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Voices is what's on this card. And then from the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Inspiration for the current energy. Temperance for the 3 of Inspiration. I love that. that's the Sagittarius card. And then the Queen of Inspiration for the Knight of Swords. A lot of Wands energy out here, which is good. That's fire. That's your element, right? Also, too, another thing that's like really sticking out to me is blue and yellow. I mean, there's some orange in here too, but for the most part, it's like, well, I guess it's like orangey, yellowy kind of mix. So, I mean, that's sacral, that's solar plexus, and throat also. Which, interestingly enough, too, like I keep having to clear my throat. I have no clue what's going on with that. But anyway, let's start with the Muse of Emotions, or the King of Cups. Kings are the highest expression of the suit, right? Like it's interesting too that we have the king and an ace together. So kings have been through the whole suit, right? They started at ace, now they're at king. So there's always, with, of course, cups, it does have to do with our emotions. It's also intuition, compassion, empathy, emotional maturity too. Kings are looked at, obviously, like they oversee a kingdom, so they're looked at for guidance, for direction, as almost like a role model. So with this being the current vibe, there's definitely like either a mastering of your emotions in some aspect. Maybe you have like a decent amount of water in your chart, or I mean, any at all. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a decent amount, but whatever aspect of your chart, whether you're Sagittarius rising or Sagittarius sun, like however that shows up for you, like in the water houses or the water signs, like maybe you are recognizing some level of growth or mastering in the areas of life that those houses represent for you. But this does, for some reason, it does feel very personal. Like you're not going through this transformation or this upgrade or ascension or, whatever it is. It's like you're not going through that for other people. It's definitely for you. It may just allow you to be more emotionally available for other people, or even just emotionally be able to connect with other people, or, just kind of see a different point of view emotionally regarding other people. But it just feels more personal. It's like this time it's for me. And whether people recognize this change or this ascension, this, upgrade, whatever, in me, like that's not even the point. The point is that I'm reaching a new level emotionally. Though there's also even just this symmetry that's happening, like this mirroring effect. So it could have something to do with like reflecting back on your life, on how you have felt about things, how you have just, something that has to do with like reflection or mirroring. I mean, it could even just be because there's this little, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's this little guy on a boat that is working their way through. I mean, I'm assuming it's a guy. I don't know. I couldn't tell, but they're just working their way through because, I'm just getting this feeling like as I'm looking at this card, right? If there is some sort of reflecting going on, or if there is some sort of like mirroring, if a situation or just an overall, vibe, like if you just feel like something is being mirrored back at you in order for you to like see that reflection, right? Like there's something for you to see in that. This little person on this boat like they're continuing to move forward. They're not going to get stuck in that mirror or the reflection, right? It's like still moving forward and obviously getting what you need to get out of it. And then again, we have this Ace of Inspiration with it. So it's just so interesting because we have fire and water, right? And I think I mentioned, if you even watched the intro, because I know it was long, but we have Mars and Cancer right now. And I was having a conversation with a friend, and it dawned on me, like what happens when you put fire and water together, or if you add fire to water. I mean, of course, on one side of things, water puts out fire, right? It's the element that combats fire. But on the other side of things, fire makes water boil. Like it changes the composition of water and, like creates steam, allows you to cook stuff in it. So it's interesting. It's interesting, like just the fire and water element, and even just balancing those two things, right? I mean, like fire could move really fast, and there's a lot of motivation too with fire, right? But then it's like maybe not being so aware of like the emotion piece, or not considering your emotions. So anyway, with the Ace of Wands being here, aces are new, right? So there's definitely something new happening here. You could be inspired in a different way because of whatever is happening in the King of Cups. You could almost even just like find your own spark again. But also, like, it's going to be new in some kind of way. It's going to be, experiencing it different or expressing it different. Especially, I mean, we have the Queen of Wands out here too, which, I mean, obviously we'll get to her, but that's my card of like expressing yourself confidently, and not letting like the rules of society, of fashion, of whatever to dictate how you do that. Like you're going to show up authentic to you, period. End of discussion, if there was one. I know I just kind of like jumped ahead to the Queen of Wands, but even just connecting that back to the Ace of Wands, though, right? I mean, there's something new happening here, because the Ace of Wands is a brand new spark. It's literally feeling alive. It's that spark of life. So, there's some sort of like rebirth happening. It could even also be just how you use your fire element. And again, however, wherever Sagittarius shows up for you, whether it's your rising sign, your sun, your moon, whatever. And then what's leaving is the Three of Wands and Temperance. It's almost kind of like if you've been waiting for a door to open, almost too, like even just waiting for things to figure themselves out. Like if you have been in limbo, if you've been even just making plans and trying things here and there, because that's the Three of Wands. It's taking actionable steps towards something. And even we can see in this card that there is this doorway here. The dominoes are starting to fall. There's this doorway here. So even that this card, this specific Three of Wands, being paired with the Temperance card, because Temperance would have been setting all these dominoes up. There's a patience element to it. It's going through the steps. I always think of like tempering chocolate, because you have to do things in a certain order for a certain amount of time. I've also never tempered chocolate, so I can't, but I watched a lot of Food Network. But and if you try to rush through steps, if you try to skip steps, then it's not going to temper correctly. And you literally have to start from scratch. So that's why, like with temperance, there's a patience element, but it's even valuing each one of those steps. It's understanding that each one of these dominoes is important in the grand scheme of things. In the big picture, each one of these dominoes has a role, has a place, has a purpose, has a meaning. And again, this first domino is falling right here. But also it looks like these ones back here are also like in the process of falling. Like it could also even be, since this is in the position of like what's leaving, it could be having a lot of irons in the fire too. And some sort of conclusion or some sort of ending, and not like ending, but it's almost kind of like the reason is going to be revealed. It's like being placed right in front of the right opportunity. And the whole last couple months, last couple years, however long it's been, has led you to this point. If you were at any point thinking to yourself, what the fuck? Maybe you tried something and it didn't work out, or it didn't go the way that you thought it was going to go. So now you have to switch gears again, and you do, because you're Sagittarius. Of course you do. And you try that, and maybe it worked for a while, maybe you whatever, and then it was like, this is actually not working anymore. But it's like each one of these dominoes was set in place by temperance to get you to the most perfect opportunity. Because frankly, you wouldn't have probably even seen it if it would have happened any other way. And then we have the Knight of Swords as what is coming in. Communication keeps like coming to mind. Speaking of mind, swords have to do with our mind, our belief systems, perspective, ideas, inspiration. Did I say that? Inspiration? Although we have the Ace of Inspiration. That's probably why the word inspiration came out. The Knight of Swords, like this depiction of the Knight of Swords, it literally feels like divine guidance. It literally feels like something is coming to you. I mean, even just like this horse, right? Like it's on its way, it's about to show up, or know that it's coming. It could also even be too like how you communicate your beliefs, because again, like there's something that's happening here with the King of Cups and the Ace of Inspiration, which could have an effect, an impact on what you believe to be true, what you believe to be possible. It could even be an impulsive decision, because the Knight of Swords is one of the fastest moving knights in the tarot, which, I mean, good, bad. Otherwise, you could just make a decision just like that. But it would be this decision, like look at this card now. I mean, we were talking a little bit about the Ace of Wands a little bit ago, but look how just these lines coming down, the ease almost too. I mean, they look so relaxed. It's like this feeling of receiving. I mean, truly, like you might not even have to try for whatever this next thing is. It's like it's literally just going to be placed in your lap in some capacity. And it's going to be in alignment. It's like all of these, again, we were talking about these dominoes over here, right? As far as like what's leaving, because now that this opportunity is here, we can get out of the limbo. We can get out of placing dominoes, like get out of that energy and be in an energy of receiving. This is even, just being connected to your higher self. If you believe in a higher power, whatever that is for you, a higher consciousness, it's allowing yourself to be guided. Really, there's this little cheetah. I think that's what this is. Cheetah or leopard down here. Either way, also the energy of fast moving. There is a lot of fire out here, and it really does feel like to me that you have figured out or are going to figure out a new way of working with your own element. Maybe even just fully working with your element to the best potential that it has. You found that fire within yourself. You know what that is. Even stoking that fire, this came from some sort of emotional burst, some sort of mastery. And two, it's like not allowing the emotional piece to take out the fire piece. That could even be what's shifting here. Again, throat chakra, you could be expressing yourself verbally differently, literally speaking your worth, literally speaking your needs into, existence, telling people, feeling, with the orange and the yellows, your gut feeling, I absolutely love this. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.